My name is Damien Davis. I'm an artist, educator, writer, um, based here in Newark, New Jersey. I was working at an art school, and we had recently acquired this laser cutter, which was a relatively new piece of technology at the time, and no one wanted to learn how to use it in order to teach the students how to use it. So I wound up being that person, and through that process, I kind of figured out how well it played with my existing work. The work existed in the computer, and I was kind of totally fine with that. And the thing that I say to people all the time is that the technology in some ways sort of caught up with the work I was doing, because all of a sudden these mathematical equations that sat in the computer could be pushed out through a laser cutter, through a 3D printer, through a CNC mill, all these things that allowed for this flexibility in a material approach, but still have that same kind of like aesthetic sensibility to what I'm doing. It's hopefully trying to romanticize or aestheticize a way or means of production that feels almost like kind of blue collar or mechanical. Like, you might not be able to imagine yourself as a painter, but you can imagine yourself turning a wing nut. So there's something about accessibility with that process that feels really important to me. The shapes are always pulled from the ways in which blackness has been like coded or decoded or recoded throughout history. So some of the symbols are really old, so it might be like cowrie shells, for example, which is like a very old form of currency in Africa. It might be something more from the industrial age. Again, I'll pull like the mask itself, but then the materials come from a more contemporary time. I like this idea that the work can be confrontational without presenting itself at first blush as confrontational. Hopefully, if I'm doing my job correctly, you as a viewer are trying to reconcile what all of these different shapes mean in relationship to each other, and there's maybe something that's revealed about the way that you see the world. There's always been this larger conversation for me in the back of my mind about what it means to exist in a body that's politicized in ways that I don't have any control over, and what does it mean to use technology to mediate my work and my thoughts in a way that hopefully makes that humanity more legible? Is there a way that I can use technology to get people to see me as more human than it might feel that they perceive me on a regular basis when I'm just walking down the street? And I'll be like very honest, I was kind of having some internal debates about even just this whole conversation. Like, what does it mean to be sort of putting on the performance of being a Black person during Black History Month? But it also feels more important than ever to be doing that when our history is under siege, when our history is actively being erased or smudged or withheld. The more that we do to sort of celebrate our humanity, the more that we do to make our humanity legible to people that are actively resistant to seeing it. In high school, Dr. Eugene Grigsby, when he was young, he was a protege of all these Harlem Renaissance painters, so like Aaron Douglas, Henry Ossawa Tanner. And I remember as a kid, he would invite me and my mom to his house, and he would show us these paintings of those artists. And he was the one to encourage me to go to New York and try to be an artist. And I don't know if I didn't have that exposure, I would have given myself permission to even think that any of these things were possible. People seeing you just existing might be the thing that gives them permission to be themselves. And I think that that's a really powerful thing.